As the days of the tournament unfolded, Roderick watched Arven with a knowing gaze, sensing the weight of his son's heart. "Arven," he said one evening as they prepared for the next day, "remember that your worth is not defined by the blood that runs through your veins. You have a strength that comes from the choices you make, not the lineage you bear." Arven nodded, though the turmoil within him remained. "I know, Father, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm meant for something greater, something that's been taken from me." "Perhaps," Roderick replied, "but greatness often comes from overcoming. You have the spirit of a true warrior. Let that guide you, not your fears." With those words, Arven felt a flicker of hope rekindled. He'd been forged in the fires of hardship, and he would continue to shape his own destiny, regardless of the shadows that loomed over his past. As the tournament pressed on, he resolved to face whatever challenges lay ahead, with the courage he had learned from Roderick, and to reclaim his identity, both as a smith's son and a Dane. As the days passed, Roderick noticed Arven's growing curiosity about his lineage and the life he had lost. Sensing the boy's longing for direction, Roderick made a decision. "Arven, if you wish to understand the ways of the sword and of the world, I have a friend who can help," he said one evening. Roderick spoke of Sir Calin, a knight of humble beginnings who had earned his title through valour and skill in battle. Once a squire for a knight in the north, Sir Calin had gained a reputation for his honour and his ability in combat. He had come to King's Landing on request of Roderick, wishing to see an old friend and finding a path for Arven. "Calin is not just a knight," Roderick said with a smile. "He's family to me. He has a good heart and he knows how to bring out the best in those he trains. I think I'll find him a worthy mentor." A few days later, Roderick arranged for Arven to meet Sir Calin at the training yard just outside the city. When Arven arrived, he was greeted by the sight of a tall knight, his armour gleaming in the morning sun, a warm smile on his face. "Ah, Roderick's boy," Sir Calin exclaimed, extending his hand. "Roderick has told me much about you. I hear you have a fire in your heart, and that's a fine place to start." Over the next several weeks, Arven trained diligently under Sir Calin's watchful eye. The knight taught him not just how to wield a sword, but also the values of honour, bravery, and friendship. They spent long hours sparring, and Calin shared tales of his own journey from squire to knight, filling Arven's imagination with visions of chivalry and adventure. As the bond between them grew, Arven found solace in the lessons he learned. Sir Calin became not just a mentor, but a trusted friend. They would often sit together after practice, sharing meals and discussing the challenges of life in King's Landing. Calin's stories of honour and sacrifice inspired Arven, solidifying his resolve to embrace the path laid before him. "I see great potential in you, Arven," Calin said one day as they cleaned their swords, after a particularly grueling session. "But remember, strength is not just in skill with a blade. It's in knowing who you are and standing for what you believe in." Arven nodded, feeling the weight of those words. He was on the brink of discovering his true identity and destiny, and with a father like Roderick and a friend like Sir Calin by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the weeks turned into months, Arven's training with Sir Calin deepened, and he grew more skilled with the sword. Each morning began with the sun rising over the training yard, where the sounds of clashing steel and Calin's encouraging shouts filled the air. Arven's muscles ached, but he felt invigorated by the knowledge he was gaining and the bond he was forming with his mentor. One evening, as they rested after a long day of practice, Arven turned to Calin with a serious expression. "You're preparing me for the world, but I still feel lost. I don't know what my place is in this world, especially now that I know I'm Edric Dane's brother. What should I do?" Calin regarded him thoughtfully, wiping sweat from his brow. "Your place is not defined by your bloodline, Arven, but by your choices and actions. You have the heart of a knight, and that is what truly matters. Seek honour, protect those who cannot protect themselves, and you will find your way." Arven nodded, feeling a flicker of determination igniting within him. He realised that while his heritage was a part of him, it didn't dictate his future. He could carve out his own path. It was announced that various noble houses, including House Dane, would arrive in King's Landing to participate in a court convened by Lord Eddard Stark. The council was intended to address the growing tensions among the noble houses and to discuss the security of the realm. Arven knew this gathering would provide an opportunity to meet Edric again. "Will you seek him out again?" Calin asked one afternoon as they practiced in the training yard. "I have to," Arven replied, a heavy weight in his chest. "I need to confront him again, to show him that I'm not just a reminder of his past. I'm a brother." "Just remember, Arven," Calin warned, You may not receive the response you hope for. Stay true to yourself. On the day Arven decided to find Edric, the streets of King's Landing buzzed with energy. Banners flew high and the air was filled with the laughter of nobles and chatters of merchants. Arven's heart raced as he made his way to the noble quarters, the anticipation growing with each step. When he finally reached the lavish estate where House Dane was staying, he took a deep breath. He spotted Edric standing in the courtyard, surrounded by admirers, his blonde hair glinting in the sunlight. Arven felt a brush of emotions, excitement, fear, and a deep-seated longing. Gathering his resolve, Arven approached, calling out, "Edric!" Edric turned, confusion etched on his face as he scanned the crowd. When his gaze landed on Arven, his expression hardened. "You again?" he asked, irritation evident in his voice. "I'm here to talk," Arven said, stepping closer. "I need you to listen to me this time." Edric crossed his arms, his posture defensive. "What more is there to say? I didn't even know you existed until you claimed you're my brother." "I'm here because I want to know you," Arven pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. "I've struggled my whole life, trying to find my place in the world. I want to understand my family, our family." Edric scoffed, shaking his head. "My father never mentioned you. How can I trust that you're telling the truth? You could be lying to take advantage of me, of House Dane." "I'm not lying," Arven shot back. "Roderick, the man who raised me, told me everything." Edric's expression shifted, but not in the way Arven had hoped. He stepped back, his features hardening further. "You think you can just waltz in here and claim to be my brother because you have the same eyes and hair? You're nothing to me. If you are my brother, then you were abandoned for a reason. My family made choices to protect what they loved, and you don't belong in that." Arven felt a flash of anger, but he forced himself to remain calm. You don't understand. I fought for every scrap I've had. I deserve a chance to be a part of your life." "Deserve?" Edric laughed bitterly. "You think that means anything to me? You're a disgrace to the name Dane. You don't belong here." Arven's heart sank, pain flooding through him. "How can you be so cruel? I've trained harder than you can imagine, and I've done it all without a family. I deserve respect for that." Edric's face twisted in disdain. "My father didn't want to speak of you, and I won't either." The words hit Arven like a hammer to an anvil. Edric's rejection cut deeper than before, but this time it fueled a fire inside of him. "You don't know anything about me or the battles I've faced," Arven replied, voice steady despite the hurt. "But mark my words, I will prove my worth. You may shun me now, but one day you'll see who I truly am." As Edric turned away, Arven felt the storm of emotion swirling inside him, rage, sadness, and a fierce determination. He would not let Edric's disdain define him. The world had cast him aside once, but he would rise above it, forging his own identity and path. Arven clenched his fists, vowing to himself that he would train harder than ever. Each swing of his sword would be fueled by the need to prove himself, not just to Edric, but to everyone who had ever doubted him. He would become a leader worthy of his heritage, ready to confront Edric again, not just as a brother but as an equal who could stand beside him, deserving of respect and acknowledgement. The day would come when Edric would remember him, not as a ghost of the past, but as a warrior forged in the fires of struggle.